First of all, I was thinking about the name of the great I am this morning. And, when we gather in the name of the great I am. And the great I am is the name that Jehovah depicted before Moses when he says, "Go tell the children of Israel, I am has sent you." And a lot of people have made that a religious thing, but I believe what he was endeavoring to communicate is the power of positive affirmations, of affirming, I am. So when you say, I am rich, I am prosperous, I am healthy, I am peaceful, you're releasing God power in your life. So we gather in the name of I am. And it's a powerful thing to think that as we gather, there's power being released because we're going to share with each other and learn more about this whole realm. And today I want to talk some about the law of attraction. Anybody been studying that much, the law of attraction? And The Secret made the law of attraction really popular, first of all. But the law of attraction is as ancient as eternity. It's not something that just started with The Secret. And I've heard a lot of people say, well, I don't believe in that law of attraction. That's just The Secret. That's just, I'm talking about the movie and the book, The Secret. But I heard of the law of attraction long before The Secret came out. I think Secret came out in about 2004, 2005. So we're going to talk some about the law of attraction. Another thing about the law of attraction is I noticed that a lot of people are saying the law of attraction doesn't work. Anybody heard that? You maybe you haven't. Since I teach, you meet all kinds of people. Like sometimes people, like someone the other day, I said something positive, put it on Twitter, and someone I disagree with that. Well, I'm thinking whether you agree with it or not, it's my reality, and my affirmation becomes my reality. So once in a while when you teach, that's one of the things you got to be ready for. You got to, people take little shots at you, but you don't let that bother you. But a lot of people have been saying that law of attraction doesn't work. And I say, why? They say, well, because I tried it. I affirmed that I was rich last week, and I still don't have any money. Anybody ever heard anybody say that? Or I affirmed my health, and I'm still sick. I affirm that I'm going to find my soulmate, and I'm still alone. Well, we need to understand how the law of attraction works, because many of those people are well-meaning people, but they really don't understand how the law of attraction. So we're going to talk about the unspoken truth of the law of attraction and the wisdom around the law of attraction. Is that okay? Is that a good topic to discuss? Now, first of all, I know the law of attraction works. It's worked for me, even the flight I'm taking today to Michigan. Law of attraction. I went through about a 3-year drought with my company where it just seemed like I could not buy a job. I couldn't buy, and then I got negative. I was saying, "Wow, nobody wants training. This thing is played out." And then I turned it around. I said, "Wait a minute." One day come on, man, come to reality and start affirming results. And one result was this company out of Michigan calling me one day out of the blue and just saying, "This guy that you worked with back in 2003 said we should talk to you about some training." Well, I'm going up there for my 9th trip, and so the law of attraction worked and brought that. In Jacksonville now, we started out with one group, and the guy that brought me to Jacksonville just got 25% ownership of another group, which means now he is an owner, and he wants me to come work with him in another group. So I've only been in Jacksonville since November, but another big door has opened where he will have work in Brunswick, Georgia, Jacksonville, and possibly St. Augustine and all that. But again, it's the law of attraction. And I talk about the watch, and we're just not talking about material things. This ring was a result of the law of attraction. I saw one in Mexico, said I wanted it. My wife said, you don't need it. But then it manifested anyhow, and she's the one that bought it. Good morning. Welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate knowing that he's a good one.
How are you today?
Huh?
How are you today?
My answer is no. From conception to eternity.
All right. Excellent. Thank you so much.
I'm always doing well.
I know you are. Thank you so much, Belinda. All right. So we're talking about the law of attraction and the fact that some people say law of attraction doesn't work, and the fact that it does work. It's worked. I can testify it's worked for me. So you go ahead and say it doesn't work. Well, your conception is your reality. We are all individuals. Allison and I were talking about this earlier. The more you realize that life is between you and the great I am, and not all these people giving their opinions about you, the more successful you will be. In fact, somehow I believe life is all about you. Now, I'm not saying you're to be a selfish individual saying I don't care about anybody else, but take care of yourself and do the right things through and in yourself, and you'll be able to take care of other people. So you, one guy said, you have no victim but you. And you really are not a victim. So don't see yourself as people are coming against me, people are putting me down. Learn to operate in the law of attraction. Now, let's talk about 5 great principles of life. And we're going to go through these, and if you would, let me go through them, and then we will have a time of question and answer and just a time of open sharing. Now, people say the law of attraction doesn't work, and the people that do, they have failed to understand this 5 step process or 5 great principles of life. Principle number 1 is the law of energy or the law of attraction, which simply says thoughts attract things. How many of you believe that? That your thoughts attract things. Why? Thoughts are a form of energy, and everything in the universe is energy. And energy begets more energy. Energy attracts energy. I learned that years ago. I share with you sometimes about my theological training in a traditional Bible college. But one thing they taught us was the law of Genesis is this: everything reproduces after its kind. Now, this is back in the 70s that they taught this, long before I heard The Secret or anything. And they said the law of Genesis is everything produces after its kind. Why? When God created things, everything, including the animals, reproduce after their kind. Even we as human beings, Homo sapiens, we reproduce after our kind. Well, your thoughts also reproduce. Everybody believe that? So if you're having negative thoughts, what are you going to produce? More negative thoughts. If you're having complaining thoughts, what are you going to produce? But if you're having positive thoughts, what are you going to produce? So this is why I encourage you to say every day, I feel happy, I feel healthy, I feel terrific. I'm driving down the freeway this morning. I feel happy, I feel healthy, I feel terrific. You just say it, because when you say that, you are attracting more happiness, attracting more health, and so forth. So the law of attraction is the first great secret or principle of life. Now, law number 2 is the law of opposites. Now, this is one that we really need to understand. And the law of opposites means attracting what is not. Now, the law of opposites is the contextual field for the law of attraction to work. Meaning this: whenever you affirm and operate and activate the law of attraction, you're going to often attract the opposite first. How many of you notice that? If you keep doing it, you will. And this is why people say it doesn't work. You start affirming, I am rich, I am rich, I am rich, and watch what happens to your money. Often the opposite happens. Next thing you look at your bank account and it's dwindling. And you're saying, this law of attraction stuff is not working. Yeah, it is. But the law of opposites often works first. And this is why a lot of people say the law of attraction doesn't work. And the reality of it is, many times when you start affirming, things get worse before they get better. Now that is the unspoken truth of the law of attraction. And I really think, I like The Secret, and I think it's good. But I don't think they said quite enough about the law of opposites. But I'm not one bashing The Secret. Some people are saying The Secret is no good. No, I believe it's good. It brought an awareness to people of the law of attraction. Okay, for instance, again, we're not ashamed of using scriptural references. I'm not some religious guy beating you over the head with the Bible. But how many of you remember when Jesus said to his disciples, the master teacher, Jesus said to his disciples, let us go to the other side. What happened after they got in the boat and started going to the other side? That's right. A storm came up all of a sudden, and the wind was blowing so terribly that the disciples were scared. You got it right. And they started freaking out, saying, Jesus, don't you care? We're all going to die. One guy said they'd already decided to die. They just wanted to know if Jesus cared. Why? What was Jesus doing? He was sleeping. Because Jesus understood the law of opposites, but the disciples didn't. And Jesus got up, spoke to the wind, affirmed, peace be still. The wind and the silence, the wind went away and the silence returned. See, a lot of times in life, when you launch out, the law of opposites will come to work in your life. Another situation that comes to mind, again, is where the master teacher, Jesus said, the sower sows the word, and who comes immediately? Anybody? The enemy comes immediately to take away the word that's been sown. See, that is a principle, that when you make an affirmation, the enemy comes to take away the word. Now, when I say the enemy, I don't want you to think of some big devil with a red suit on. Or I really believe we don't understand evil, and we've made Satan what he really isn't. People say, oh yeah, you don't believe in Satan? Well, Satan is an acronym for seeing anything as negative. Satan is really seeing, when you start seeing things as negative, you're going to attract more negative and evil into your life. Since this understanding, I don't think about the devil a lot. And some people are, I'm sure you got some relatives that are so the devil's coming after us. When really evil, when you understand, evil is just the reciprocal of good. Good is real, evil is not. Now some people say, what are you saying? There's no such thing as evil. No, the real is good, and evil is just the reciprocal. The great I am never wanted them to know evil in the first place. He put them in a garden, and everything was good. And he had a tree called the knowledge of good and evil. And they were interested, especially Eve, in knowing the evil. And then Adam there came along with him. And, next thing you know, I like what John Osteen used to say years ago. John Osteen is Joel's dad. Anybody watch Joel sometime? He's one of the more positive preachers on TV. Yeah, New Thought. A lot of positive New Thought concepts. He was even on Oprah's show, and Oprah really likes him. Oprah and Tyler Perry spent time at his house and all this stuff. But John Osteen used to say, the women are always saying, where would you men be without us? John Osteen used to say, the Garden of Eden. A little humor now. Okay, ladies, don't get upset. Don't throw anything out. I love women. My mother is a woman. But the law of opposites. Now, here's how the law of opposites works. Is this making sense? The world opposing you, everyone say, the world opposing me is the universe agreeing with me. When the universe agrees with you, the world often opposes you. You start walking in this I am prosperous, I am rich, I am successful, and watch the opposition you get in the world. Now that's the opposite. But you get to the place you don't let it bother you because you know that's only proof that it's working. So when you start agreeing with the universe, this realm often opposes you to try to keep you down. Now, here's another way of saying it. Macro truth differs from micro reality. Macro, what is macro? What do you think of when you hear the word macro? Big, large. What do you think of when you hear micro? See, macro truth is the great I am, affirmations, law of attraction, promises that belong to you. That's macro truth. But micro reality says, yeah, you're going down there listening to this dude, but you know you're broke. You know you're broke. You had an NSF check last week. You know what? See, that's micro reality. But I want to tell you today, don't let that disturb you. Because macro truth is that we are all rich. That's the macro truth. Macro truth is all of you women are abundant. wise, entrepreneurial leaders in this nation. That's the greatness that's in you. But micro reality may be saying, man, I'm struggling. Like we were talking about earlier, got to have a man to make it. No, you don't have to have a man to make it. A lot of women are thinking that way. So the law of opposites. Does that make sense? The moment you start activating the law of attraction, you will also start attracting that which is not. But what do? Go ahead.
I would say it's almost like a test of faith.
Exactly.
Like, yeah, you have to believe. They just lack belief. So you're going to get tested. It's like the creator saying, okay, so you want this. Now I'm going to test you, see how faithful you are to believe that you're going to attain whatever you're asking for through the fire, through the storm.
Exactly.
Yeah. So.
You nailed it.
Yeah.
In fact, that is just a principle of life. And it works in every way. The life will test you. The creator will test you. And it's just the way the universe is designed. You're claiming a macro truth, now the micro reality. Some of you heard me talk about Grady Jarrett. He is the Falcons' defensive lineman. By the way, I ran into him about 3 weeks ago. He played in the Super Bowl. He sacked Tom Brady 3 times in the first half. If they had won the game, he probably would have been MVP. Grady Jarrett started as a kid visualizing playing in the NFL. And I met him when he was a kid in about 8th grade. And he started affirming, I'm going to be a pro football player. He went to Conyers High School. Well, now he's one of the Atlanta Falcons. But the night before he was drafted, the house caught a fire they were living in. And destroyed the house. His nephews and cousins came running downstairs. Grady, the house is on fire. He and his family had to flee out of the house. And then he didn't get drafted that night. He thought, oh my goodness, my dream of the NFL is not happening. And then the house catches a fire. The next day, the Atlanta Falcons call him and invited him to come be a part of the team. And they didn't even know about the house fire. And by the way, I heard that Arthur Blank chipped in to help get the house taken care of. So his dad sent me a picture of the beautiful grand piano and all this. So your vision will be tested. That's all I'm saying. Do you have the moxie and the commitment to it to stick with it through it all? I've started so many things that when you start, it's so insignificant looking that you're like, I am wasting my time. But you stay with it, and one day you look back, and when there are hundreds and thousands of people. I remember one time we started a group with 3 people in Alaska, just 3 of us. And we had about $120 in the account. And then one night we're having a meeting. There's about 2,500 people packed in the Hilton. And a guy writes a check for, I think it was $31,000 to the organization. And I went back to when we were painting our own little signs. And, just starting. Anything you do, you're going to be tested. Does that make sense? Okay, believe it or not, just go to work and you'll see what I'm talking about.
I mean, personally, I'm just saying personally for me. I don't see it, I guess I just don't see it as testing, but it's okay to see it as testing. I just see it as on the way, there are things that just happen the same way it happened on the boat.
Uh-huh.
It had nothing to do with God says, let's go on the other side. But the disciples had been taught, if this happened, the boat is going to go down.
Yeah.
Instead of just, we're going on the other side, and these are just some things that happen. Because I just think of, when I've seen so many experiences in my life, and now I just look at, those were things that this was happening. It's just that I had been taught, this happened, and this happened. This is the end.
Yeah.
And so now it's more like, that's happening, but they don't have anything to do with what the end's going to be, because the end is going to be something positive, not something negative.
The big thing is stay focused on the positive outcome, right?
Because if you start believing, just like they did on the ship, that this happened, we're going down.
Mm-hmm.
And if we go down in all this water, we're going to die. So they were believing in something that they had previously been taught, except for what Jesus was trying to teach them.
Right.
Which is, just come on and follow me and everything's going to be okay.
Yeah, they had some strong beliefs about the Sea of Galilee, that if that sea reared up, and especially when you saw someone walking on the water, the history teaches you were seeing your own ghosts. You're going to die. And one time, the master came walking on the water, so they also freaked out there. Now, here's an interesting thought about life, and I appreciate your point of view, Belinda. You've got to see this however you see it and deal with it however you deal with it. Testing is not a bad word. But Les Brown, I like listening to Les. He's one of the guys I enjoy. He talks about Murphy's Law. And Murphy's Law says, beware when you're doing something great, because if something can go wrong, it will. But you don't want to believe and expect Murphy to show up, but when he does, you want to be ready for Murphy. Is that right? You want to be like Jesus. Storm, no big deal. But you don't want to go out there looking for a storm. Does that make sense? So the law of opposites says a lot of times when you launch out, the challenge comes. Read the book Think and Grow Rich, and that's why Napoleon Hill, one of the principles he taught was persistence. Why do you need persistence?
So you can keep moving forward.
Right. Keep moving forward when things are not what?
Going right.
See, if everything's going right, we wouldn't need persistence. We just all, ooh, it's all good. Life is a bowl of cherries, a box of chocolates or whatever. But when all hell is breaking loose, you need to understand persistence. This HELL means nothing in my life. I think it was Winston Churchill says, when you're going through hell, keep going. Whatever you do, just keep going. Okay, number 3, principle number 3. Is this making sense today for us? The gift of wisdom. You need the gift of wisdom. Now, wisdom helps you to understand what's going on when you activate the law of attraction and the things are not quite manifesting the way you want it. Now, if all of this worked overnight, you wouldn't need it. You would have said yesterday, I am a millionaire, and this morning you woke up with 10, 15, 50 million in your bank account. But when you start saying that, and then it looks like, man, I'm still working this job I don't want, things are not, you need the gift of wisdom. Now, the good thing about wisdom is this. The Creator has already given us wisdom. How many of you know you all have wisdom within? I had a lady last week on Facebook write me this long message in Messenger saying, I need help with this, I need wisdom, I need ideas, I don't know what to do, what do you do when? And then she started giving herself all the answers. And when she got to the end of her message, she said, well, I guess I found my answer. Thank you. I said, yeah, it is within. The answer is within you. Michael Beckwith did a teaching, The Answer Is You. And if you've never seen that, you might watch that one. He's the guy on The Secret that had the dreads. He got a haircut. He's got a bald head now. But the answers are in us because wisdom is in us. Meaning, when you seek to attract money and less money manifests, you have the wisdom to know this is just the law of opposites. You know that failure is really not failure. There really is no such thing as failure. Why you expect success. So when the law of opposite comes in, you said, this is not reality. This is all an illusion. The real thing is I'm wise enough to keep doing, keep believing, keep affirming what I am affirming. Does that make sense? The world, now when you say the world is an illusion, a lot of people just think you're smoking a serious pipe of some serious weed. The world is an illusion. Now, I'm not saying the world is not real. This pen is real. All right? But this pen is a result of substance from an invisible world that spoke everything into being. So the pen is really not the reality. The substance is the reality. Your financial situation is not the reality. The substance of prosperity is really your reality. And when you start expecting that, it happens. My wife and I were in Cancun back in 2015, and we were really enjoying it in this nice resort condo. And I said to her, we're going to take all of our kids to Cancun. And she at first just started thinking of how much it was going to cost. She started thinking, okay, that's airline tickets. Well, I said, no, it's going to happen. Well, just last week, we've been back a week now, we took our kids and spent 7 wonderful days in Cancun. We paid for their airline ticket, and they're still just talking about it. Oh man, that was the best vacation we've ever had. See, the substance of the trip was not in the money we had in the account, but in the substance of what we call faith, our creative imagination, and creative visualization. In fact, it's not all about me, but I share things to help you. On my vision board, I keep at least 3 resort vacation spots at a time on my vision board. Right now, I have Fiji, Hawaii, and Cozumel. We've been to Cancun. Cozumel, anybody know, is right across from Cancun. But Cozumel is a lot more money to go there. It's more exclusive. So I have them on my vision board. And my wife and I were talking about this. She said, Fiji, tickets are really expensive to go to. I said, it doesn't matter. It's on the vision board. So she started checking into them, and she said, I'm finding some good deals on Fiji. All right? So the world you are living in is really not the reality. Now, I'm not saying this bottle of water is not real. It is water. But the real reality is substance. The macro reality is more powerful than the micro junk we're dealing with at this level. Does that make sense, guys? All right. So the gift of wisdom. And remember, you have wisdom. Number 4 is the joy of wonder. Imagination. Anybody done any studying on the imagination? Why is your imagination so powerful?
Because that's where a lot of things are created. I mean, nothing's going to be a reality unless you imagine it first, and then you can create.
Exactly. And do you know that there's a scripture in Genesis that says nothing will be restrained from them which they have imagined to do? I remember years ago, again, in this theological Bible college, I'm sitting there listening to all this stuff. They're saying one thing, I'm seeing something else. Any of you like that? They're just teaching all this religious theology, and I'm thinking, whoa, the imagination is powerful. But then they came up with, well, the imagination is evil. We always make everything evil. Do you notice that? And I'm not bashing church people, but they make everything good and evil. Everything is morality. Well, they're principles. Like imagination. Imagination is not evil. Imagination could be good. It's like money. It's neutral. You could use money to feed a poor family, or you could use money to buy drugs and do something that's harmful to your physical body. You could use money to be a blessing, build an orphanage, or you can use that same money and take it and pay someone to kill someone else. So the money is not evil, and that's the way all these principles are, and imagination is that way. But imagination has gotten a really bad rap for the most part. Because most people, when you say imagination, they'll say it's just your imagination. Even the who Temptations wrote a song, just my imagination. Run it away with me. It's not just your imagination. Your imagination is a source of creation. Neville Goddard teaches that your imagination is God. If you've never listened to any of Neville's stuff, and he teaches why, he said the imagination is God and how God works through you because of creative visualization. And imagination, think of this, image a nation. The images created in you will manifest without. So the joy of wonder, imaging greatness gives you imagination to produce greatness. Principle number 5, finally, the law of cycles. The law of cycles. Now, when you add all of this with the law of attraction, the next time you affirm something, you're going to have more wisdom of how to deal with it. What is the law of cycles? Somebody tell me. What do you think it is? Based on our notes. Read it if you have to. The law of cycles. Well, let me ask you a question. Does all of life move in cycles? You bet all of life moves in cycles. In fact, life is a process of expression and experience. And again, life works in cycles. Now, again, here's where you need wisdom. Anybody here have your own business? Okay. Business goes in cycles. Now, don't fight that. It's just a reality. Guess what? And I know some of you are going to think this is negative. No, it's not negative. It's called reality. Business doesn't always go up. Business goes up, and there are times business plateaus. And there are times that business goes down. But it's all a cycle. And guess what? It's going to go back up again. But if you expect it to just keep going up, 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 you will be disappointed when you have the opposite happening. We understand that the seasons of the world are cycles. Well, we're coming into what? Summer now, you know? Well, then we'll go into fall and all the leaves will start to die and drop. And then we'll go into winter when it's really cold. And then spring comes again. All right, if it was hot all the time, you wouldn't appreciate the four seasons as much. Does that make sense? All I'm saying is life operates in cycles. And when you understand the wisdom of that, you know that everything is moving in a cycle. So understanding this as we wrap up, and then we'll have a Q&A time. The good thing is to do the right thing no matter what cycle you are in. Like, for instance, generosity is always good. No matter what cycle you are in, remain a generous person. And many people struggle with generosity. I was talking to some guys last week, and they were like, oh, this giving thing is just something these preachers came up with to get your money. I said, no, it's not. Yeah, but these preachers driving the Bentleys and all the nice cars and the millionaire homes and all that. I said, well, no matter what they're doing, generosity is a divine principle. How many of you know a lot of people get deceived by that? Generosity is a divine principle. Don't get deceived by what you see happening with people that are manipulating people to give money. Like one guy was saying, you give me this money, I'll get you some water from the Holy Land and pour the water on you and you'll be prosperous. You know, I mean, that's nonsense, okay? I'm not knocking what anybody is doing, but the universe loves a generous person. The universe smiles on a generous person. And when you are generous, you're saying to the universe, I believe there's more than enough. I believe there's more than enough. We were in Mexico recently, and again, the dollar is worth 18 pesos right now. It was up to 21 shortly after Mr. Trump got in office, but it's leveled off a little bit. Okay, I won't say much about that. They love Mr. Trump in Mexico, okay? But so when you give a Mexican person $1, they're like, whoa. I mean, you know, they bring all this food to the room, you give them $1, they're like, thank you, senora. You know, and I'm thinking, wow, that's just $1. Yeah, just $1. But to them, that's like 18 pesos. One of my friends went there and gave a $100 tip one time. And the owner of the business came to him and said, did you mean to give us this? You must have made a mistake. He said, no, I just want good service, so I gave you $100. Gave the lady at Hooters, of all places, $100. Yeah, yeah. You said you know what he wanted. Well, his wife was downtown shopping, and he was hanging out at Hooters and gave the girl. And the guy said, this is like a month's salary to us here in Mexico. Yeah, $100 is like a month's salary because back then it was worth 17 pesos, $1. So that's like $1,700 as we see them. Okay, but when you're generous, you're just saying to the universe, I have more than enough, and I believe there is more than enough. So never look at generosity as people just trying to get your money. If you look at it that way, you have a problem with generosity.
I guess for me, in fact, I was talking with someone just about this yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
All the money that comes into my hand, I have never believed all this is for me.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's not all for me, it's some of it is for, oh, I came to an opportunity that I can bless this person. And it's not about giving them really something financially. It's about blessing them with more happiness.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Very good point.
And you know, like you might talk about a collection plate, but there's generosity to be shared in so many different places.
So many ways.
It's not even because I'm trying to be generous. I enjoy being happy, and I'm sure other people enjoy being happy. And it just makes selfishly, it makes me feel good to see, wow, that person is so happy.
Yeah.
Wow, they even hugged me. And
wow.
All I did was this. But that wasn't mine anyway.
Yeah.
That was placed with me to go ahead and hand it to that person.
So it's more about happiness to you.
Yeah, it's about sharing happiness.
Sharing happiness. Yeah, Wayne Dyer tells this story. We'll tell this and then we'll wrap up. about the cookie thief. Anybody heard that story? I'll paraphrase it. This lady was going on a flight, which I will be going on soon, and she went into the store in the airport and bought these really nice cookies. These cookies she really likes. She took the cookies and put them in her bag, and then she went on the airplane. Well, she's sitting by a guy who happened to have a bag of the same cookies, and the guy's eating the cookies, just eating cookies, and then he turns and offers her a cookie. And she's like, this guy took my bag of cookies. He took my cookies, and how dare he offer me a cookie? And she thought, should I tell him off? Should I give him a piece of my mind? So she finally said, yeah, I'll take one. So she took a cookie. The guy ate 2 more cookies, said, you want another one? She took another cookie. And then the guy says, there's 1 more cookie left. Do you want the last one? And the lady said, no, you have it. And she's thinking, I need to give this guy a piece of my mind. He ate my cookies. How dare. So she got off of the plane, walked to the next terminal area. She's sitting there. She digs in her bag, and what does she find? Her bag of cookies. So all the time, the guy was sharing his cookies with her, and she thought the guy had stolen her cookies. So that's what I'm saying. When you have a problem, sometimes it's the way you are seeing things. I mean, the guy was just being generous. So Wayne Dyer said, who is the real cookie thief? She was the cookie thief, okay? So learn to live a happy, healthy, terrific life. Always be the source of what you want to receive. Let's summarize what we taught today. We taught the law of energy, or the law of attraction. Number 2, the law of opposites. When the opposite comes, you need to operate in number 3, the law of wisdom. And number 4, the joy of wonder. Keep your imagination fresh. Imagine good things. And finally, number 5, the law of cycles, meaning everything happens in cycles. All right. Close your eyes for a moment. Let's just spend a moment in silence and just think about what you just heard. Just enter silence for a moment. All right. Any questions? Just open talk time. Questions, answers, reflections. It may not be a question, it may be an insight. You know, I'm not the teacher. We are all teachers.
Not really a question or anything, but I think with all that was said, part of the law of attraction that I was talking about with some people last week is not just being generous, but being able to receive.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Oh, that's a good one.
Have issues with receiving, and so that's why sometimes there's a block there where you don't get what you could have because you're not really open to receiving.
Yeah.
I know for me, like I'm very generous. I'm always giving, but I had an issue with accepting like compliments or, or just any type of, anything really from other people because I was so independent and not really looking for other people to give, but I was blocking things from other people because I wasn't really open to receiving. I was open to giving, but I wasn't open to receiving, and so I had to actually, learn to change that. And even if it was like, oh, you did such a great job, instead of being like, okay, I'm like, thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Thanks, and then, learning to basically open myself to receiving those compliments and then being able to meet other people through being open to receiving.
Excellent. So why do you think people are not open to receive sometimes? Why do you think? Oh, yeah. Okay, interesting.
Stuff like that.
Yeah. So you feel maybe guilty when you're receiving, is it? That sometimes we feel like I'm not worthy of this. I need to just be giving everything but not receiving. You need to be open to giving and receiving is like a circle. It's a cycle. And giving is receiving. And people that can receive are givers, and people that can give can receive. I have a teaching on that we'll do one day, that giving and receiving are a part of the same cycle. Because when you give, it will be given back. So you better be open to receive. Are you stopping the cycle? You're stopping the flow of circulation. Very good point. Thank you for sharing that. You know, another study revealed that people that have a hard time receiving gifts and compliments sometimes have a hard time receiving things like health, even health. A lot of times, if you can't receive compliments when someone says, "Wow, you really look great today," "Oh, this is just a cheap dress," if you, when the Creator is providing health, they said some of those people have a problem with wellness because they can't receive. So it's just good to open yourself up to receive and not feel guilty about it. All right, very good. Any other thoughts, comments?
It's like what you do to others is you do it to yourself.
Exactly.
So it's like you got to be open that you're really doing it for yourself, because whatever you do is going to come back to you.
Whatever you do for another, you are really doing for yourself.
Right. So if you block that, then you, like you said, you're blocking your blessing.
Block
your blessing.
your own blessing.
Yeah.
This is why every major religion, especially Christianity, says do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Because what you do unto others, you are doing unto you. And if you block it, you again blocking the circulation. What's a blood clot? We had to even think about it, but it's block of the circulation of blood flow. So do unto others, receive, give compliments, receive compliments. This is why when people try to give you something, never say, "You can't afford to give this. You need it more than I do." If you do that,
I mean, that's like an insult.
it's like an insult.
You're insulting that person
Uh-huh.
by telling them that they can't.
Yeah. Catherine Ponder, Millionaires of the Bible, talks about that with the widow's mite. She said Jesus took that and said, "She gave more than all of you." He didn't say, "Woman, you need this more than I do," because that would have been an insult with her generosity, So sometimes in life we have that feeling like, "Oh, they need it more than I do." That you're right, that's an insult. Any other insights or questions about the?
We just need to realize we're all one people and we're all equal.
Mm-hmm.
We always separating ourselves by different things. Like, if you drive that car, or he has this much money and I don't, and you feel kind of not insulted, but you feel inferior to that person because maybe they have something that you don't have or you didn't accomplish. We need to get rid of that and just realize we're just people and just give love and just do the right thing.
Yeah.
But people get jealous of you or anything, of your mindset or whatever. So.
We are all one. That is a deep insight, and it's something we need to often remind ourselves of.
Yeah.
We are one.
And what you might be able to do and experience in life often has nothing to do with what your assets are.
Mm-hmm.
You can check into a hotel and have budgeted really tight, and they can upgrade you to the nicest suite.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
That if you had to pay for it, that would be totally out of budget. So you can't always go by what your assets are, how much money you even have on a trip. Because I know that I've experienced those. I've experienced the opportunity where a person has just upgraded me, and I would have been able to pay for, let's say, a 2-bedroom suite. I was just getting a regular room. You never know. I don't know, I guess I just look at that. Those things that are in your heart, when you really want to take a nice vacation, and you go ahead and you make your plans and you make you make all your plans and you start going, and it just seems like if you really, really wanted a nice vacation, or at least with me, boom, this happened, and boom, that happened. It's like, wow, I got a vacation worth more than what I could have paid for.
Yes. Prosperity. Charles Fillmore's Prosperity. If you have not listened to that, I encourage you. He said prosperity is not what you have in your bank account. It's not the assets. It's what's available to you when you need it. And that's the teaching I think we need today, because he said, he used Jesus as an example. He never accumulated or amassed stuff to say, I'm a billionaire, his prosperity was I can manifest whatever I need when I need it. And like you said, you may be on a trip where you were on a budget, and all of a sudden, that happens a lot when I'm traveling. They'll say, we upgraded you to a suite. I remember one time for about a year straight, just about every trip, they upgraded me to the suite when I was just paying for the basic room. And so that keeps us from becoming materialistic. I think loving people, seeing ourselves as one, and no matter how rich or poor, we're all one. We're all the same. I enjoyed the Mexican people so much because they have a certain humility about them, and every time they meet you, hola, they touch their heart and bow, and I thought, wow, these people, I know they were trained on the resort to be that way, but just to have people saying hello to you all day long and bowing. And, I spent time talking to them as much as I could. I'm no better than they are because I'm American. They think we're all rich because we come from America there, too, for the most part, All right. Well, very good session today, and I trust that this was helpful to you. I really enjoyed it. And couple of quick things, and let's wrap up. I have created a Law of Attraction ebook. Yeah, it's an ebook, and this is one of the pages out of the ebook. In fact, what I shared today is a lesson out of the ebook. This law of attraction is becoming a theme in my heart. In fact, we're going to have a St. Augustine meetup. We were talking about earlier, we already have 29 people registered. First meetup in St. Augustine, and I'm going to teach on the law of attraction down there. So we developed this ebook, and I have it available at atlantanewthought.com. I want to challenge you, become a student of the law of attraction with me for a while. What you need to do sometimes is focus on a topic and just keep studying it. If you'll do that like over 30 days, 31 days or whatever, we got 31 lessons there. Watch what happens, because around 21 days, you start to get a breakthrough in the form of habit. So I encourage you to go there. I think that it's like $9.99 or something like that for the ebook. And it has 31 lessons of the law of attraction. And of course, that's up to you. But what would happen if we got enough people on this in the world? I want to see a paradigm shift from all this negativity.
It's all BS.
Yeah, it's all BS. Belief system.
Yeah.
It is. I know. That's one of my favorite things. It's all BS, belief systems. What about this? What if you did this? Here's a challenge. I was thinking about this morning. I wrote it down last week, and I found the note in my bag. It must be destiny. What if you went for 31 days without watching the news? Because the news is very negative. How many of you know that? And you focused on no negativity, and then you did the law of attraction reading each morning. It's just a short little paragraph and then an affirmation. You watch what would happen in your life. So I want to challenge you. Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, doing that, how do you get your mindset on not responding to any negativity in your life? You know what I mean? Because your environment can be chaotic, or you can have a kid who just annoys you all the time. So how you gotta clear your mind and be like, I'm just not gonna respond to any of this negativity. I'm just gonna focus on your positive affirmation.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. How do you deal with life and keep this mindset?
A global affirmation that helps me. When I say global, this one I use for a lot of stuff. Only good will come out of this. Only good will come. No matter what's happening, say, only good will come out of this. Your kid could be throwing a temper tantrum or doing something. Only good will come out of this. Some of you may have heard, I posted on Facebook, my baby brother passed away. All right. So, everyone's so upset about his funeral, which will be next Saturday. I'm saying only good will come out of this. And I've gotten so many insights because of my view of it that I'll be able to help the other brothers and sisters because they're all looking at it as a loss. Well, Scripture says to die is gain. So is it loss or gain? It's all a matter of how we look at things. So, yeah, what we really believe.
We say that.
But do we really believe it? Exactly. We say that, but when death happens, everybody's like, oh my God, we've lost our brother. I said, no, we know where he is. He wouldn't come back here if he had an opportunity. He has transitioned into the next level.
Right.
life is cyclic, just like everything else. So again, only good something happens. My wife one time took our car through a gate. The gate was coming down. She didn't see it and tore the roof off of my convertible. And she called me, honey, the BMW, I tore the convertible roof off. First thing I said, only good will come out of this. That woman, can't you drive?
I should say, are you okay?
Yeah, are you okay? That's what I did say. You're okay, right? And she said, yeah, I'm okay, but I tore up the car. I said, don't worry about the car. Only good will come out of it.
My sister, a couple of years ago, my sister, she lost her husband, right?
Mhm.
But she's my baby sister, and she lives in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And he was sick for a while, and she took care of him. But after he passed, we went to the funeral, and me and my other sister, we stayed with her for 2 weeks
Uh-huh.
because I didn't know how she was going to take it. But to this day, from that day to this day, I've never seen her sad. Never.
Amazing.
I've never seen her cry.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay.
How do you do that, huh?
And then, we talk about him. We can talk about him, everything. But I've never seen her sad.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
So maybe she had time to make peace with the fact that, she knew that she was going to lose him, but maybe she had time to make that peace with him. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I do know that she had to move out of the house. She couldn't stay in the house. But
Yeah.
other than that.
Well, sometimes changing her environment is a part of it because the environment might remind her too much of.
It did.
Yeah.
She said she couldn't even sleep in the bedroom anymore.
Yeah. Bob James, anybody heard of him? He's one of my favorite musicians. He's with the group Foreplay, 1, 2, 3, 4 play, not the others. Okay, 4 guys that play. And his wife passed away just a few days ago, like April 29th. He posted on Facebook, I am going to Europe and we are going to play so much music. And the guy's on tour because he accepted, and she had cancer and she'd been struggling, that he's going on with life. And he has pictures of him with other musicians smiling and so on. People say, how can you do that? Well, do you really believe to die is gain? And that it's a transition. I'm not saying you won't miss the individual, but all this old grief we bring up, we just create a lot of drama and depression because it's kind of the way society is. Again, it's one of those negatives in society where we make it a bad thing. But
I'm thinking because we would wait, but then sometimes it's not a we would wait. Because I've gone. I don't know if you've ever gone to a Nigerian wake.
No, never have.
I said that's what I'm at. If
What are they
my
like?
if my mother precedes me, and then I don't have no funeral, not no traditional black Southern African American funeral. And I've been to some nice funerals of Americans that are blacks that are so different than some of the traditional funerals. But you go there, and the one that I went to, there was a buffet of food. They had people to serve. Then, I walk in the room, I saw a band, a live band.
Wow.
There's all these nice, round tables with people sitting at the table. And there was a little service before, but it was a very uplifting service. There were different family members that got up and was telling you things that wasn't making you feel sad. Like, you remember when, and so you're all happy. And then, like, when that part of the service was over, then the people that start playing the music, they're just playing just regular music like you're out at a party.
Uh-huh.
And you can get up, you can dance, you can go get something to eat, get something to drink, you're talking to the different people. And the other thing that they have is all the family wears, you know who the family is because they're in the same color.
Mm-hmm.
And when they get up and they're dancing, then you take money and you just throw it.
Yeah.
And the little children in the family pick the money up and put it in these cups. But it's a
celebration,
really happy celebration, and everybody's happy. And my thing